This is the story of Nolan Wells. He was an 18-year-old athlete full of life, big dreams, and a bright future ahead of him. But on July 4th, 2026, a holiday trip with friends to Horn Island turned into an unimaginable nightmare. In this video, we will examine the timeline, the statements, and the evidence searching for the truth behind what really happened to Nolan Wells. July 4th, 2026, Horn Island, Mississippi. The 4th of July, a day of celebration, fireworks, and freedom. For millions of Americans, it's a time to gather with friends and make memories that will last a lifetime. But on July 4th, 2026, off the coast of Mississippi, a celebratory boat ride turned into an inexplicable nightmare. This is the story of Nolan Wells, an 18-year-old student, a star athlete, a young man with his entire life ahead of him. When Nolan and his friends set sail for a remote, uninhabited strip of land known as Horn Island, the plan was simple: enjoy the sun, the water, and the holiday. But when the boat returned to the mainland that night, one person was missing. Nolan never made it home. What followed is a story tangled in contradictions, missing evidence, and a family's desperate search for the truth. What really happened on that island? Was it a tragic accident? Or is there something much darker hiding beneath the surface? To understand the mystery, we first have to understand who Nolan was. He wasn't just your average teenager. At 18 years old, he was an exceptional athlete, strong, capable, and in peak physical condition. He knew the water. He was a strong swimmer. On the afternoon of July 4th, Nolan joined a group of friends on a boat heading out into the Gulf of Mexico. Their destination was Horn Island. It's a beautiful but desolate place. It's a barrier island, miles of sand, wild sea oats, and unpredictable tides. It's entirely uninhabited. There are no facilities, no lights, and once the sun goes down, it is completely swallowed by the darkness. By all accounts, the day started normally. Witnesses and friends reported a typical holiday atmosphere. They swam, they relaxed, and they celebrated. But as the afternoon faded into evening, the timeline of events begins to blur. The sun began to set, casting long shadows over the Gulf. It was time to pack up and head back to the mainland. But as the engine started, a crucial detail was overlooked or ignored. Nolan was no longer with them. How does a group of friends leave an uninhabited island without noticing someone is missing? This is the first major question that continues to haunt investigators and Nolan's family. According to the initial statements, the group boarded the boat and made their way back to shore. It wasn't until later that night that the alarm was finally raised. Nolan was missing. Panic set in. The family was notified late in the evening, and their world shattered. Local law enforcement, the Coast Guard, and search and rescue teams were immediately deployed. The dark waters around Horn Island were scoured with spotlights. Helicopters swept over the sand dunes. Every passing minute felt like an eternity. For an athlete like Nolan, surviving in the water for a few hours was possible, but the Gulf of Mexico is unforgiving. As the 4th of July bled into the 5th, hope began to dwindle. The island, which had been a place of celebration just hours prior, had become a massive crime scene, and the details emerging from the boat were beginning to raise serious red flags. The devastating confirmation came on the morning of July 6th. An employee of the National Park Service patrolling the desolate shores of Horn Island made a grim discovery. Nolan Wells was found dead on the beach. The immediate assumption by many was a tragic drowning, a swimming accident. But Nolan's family refused to accept this at face value. And as investigators began looking closer, the pieces of the puzzle simply did not fit together. The most glaring anomaly: Nolan's belongings. When investigators checked the boat that had returned without him, they found Nolan's keys and his cell phone. Let's pause and think about that. Pointed out the obvious. What modern teenager willingly leaves their smartphone behind if they plan to wander off alone on a deserted island? The friends on the boat claimed Nolan left the phone behind because he was planning to go into the water. They stated there were other phones on the boat if they needed to communicate. Furthermore, whispers began to surface about an issue with the boat's water pump that day, and rumors of an argument or a disagreement over how and when the group separated. Seeking the truth, the Wells family commissioned an independent autopsy. They needed to know what the authorities weren't telling them, but the results only deepened the mystery. The independent medical examiner classified the cause of death as undetermined. The condition of the body, having been exposed to the elements for nearly 2 days, made it incredibly difficult to draw definitive conclusions. It wasn't a clear-cut drowning, but it wasn't a clear-cut case of foul play either. Today, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, along with state agencies, are keeping the investigation open. They are waiting on the official toxicology reports and the final state autopsy. But for the family of Nolan Wells, waiting is agony. They are left with a void that can never be filled, and questions that demand answers. Why did the boat leave without him? What really happened in those final hours on the sand? And how does a strong, healthy 18-year-old athlete end up dead on a family holiday? The story of Nolan Wells is a chilling reminder of how quickly a perfect day can unravel into a permanent tragedy. The investigation is still ongoing, and the truth is still out there, waiting to be uncovered in the sands of Horn Island. As the investigation continues, many are more to the story than what's being said. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found this breakdown insightful, please give it a like and hit subscribe for more deep dives into unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.